right? Uusapan natin ngayon ang independent service contractors. Kung talaga nga bang sila ay independent na walang employer-employer relationship o sila ba yung mga empleyado? This is your host, Jarky Miranda. So what is an independent service contractor? Let's define first the definition from the jurisprudence. In legitimate job contracting, an independent contractor undertakes to perform work on its own account, under its own responsibility, and according to its own manner and method, free from the control and direction of the principal. That is held in the case of Philippine Airlines versus NLRC, that is in November 9, 1998. So ang sinasabi dito ng independent contractor ay nagpe-perform ng mga responsibilities na malaya, from the word itself, independent from the influence of the employer or the principal. Yung mga private school teachers, yung ESL, right? The ESL teachers being hired by online companies. Itong mga institutions na nag-hire ng private school teachers, most particularly the English teachers, are being compelled to sign an independent service contract agreement or contractor. Why? Because they want to escape that liability from the employer, that responsibility to pay the 13th month pay, the security of tenure, the all other benefits, including the night differential if they work in the night, and what else? All the other benefits, service incentive leaves that must be in accordance with what the labor code provides and what must be enjoyed by these private school teachers. Regular employees versus project-based. Madalas nating marinig sa ABS-CBN na sa GMA when we are still working there, yung mga project-based employees, right? Yung mga IJM employees o yung mga talent. But ano nga ba talaga ang pinagkaiba ng regular employee versus a project-based? So a regular employee is distinguished from a project employee by the fact that the latter is employed to carry out a specific project or undertaking in which the duration or the scope of which was specified at the time the employees were engaged. So in other words, by the word itself, regular, merong frequency, regular frequency of employment that he has to do in a specific project, in a specific duration, and that is really related to the business of the company. Whereas to differentiate that in a project, or a project has a reference to a particular job or undertaking that may or may not be within the regular or usual business of the employer. In either case, the project must be distinct, separate, and identifiable from the main business of the employer, and its duration must be determined or determinable. Same case of Philippine Airlines versus NLRC. So pag sinabing project, it must be distinct, it must be separate, and identifiable from that of the main business of the employer. Ano bang business ng ESL company? Hindi ba mag-render sila ng English teaching sa mga foreigners, sa mga students who want to learn the standard English? Ano ngayon ang hinahire mo? Teachers of English which is directly engaged with the style of business that the company is rendering. Yung project-based kasi is just, for example, na-hire ako bilang voice-over artist or isang MC sa isang event. Let's say, for example, itong Philippine Society of Vascular Medicine. Yung corporation na yon or yung organisasyon na yon ay engaged sa medicine, sa mga doktor. Engaged ba sila sa mga voice-over? Hindi naman. So that is a project-based. Hindi naman regular yun eh. Hindi yun frequent, hindi yun stable, at hindi yun specifically done in a frequent manner. Unlike sa regular employee, engage ka talaga kung anong business yung ginagawa ng iyong employer. Who are the real independent service contractors? These are not limited to the following: the TV host, the newspaper columnist, the voice-over artist, a singer, a wedding singer, or an MC in an event. Because hindi mo naman sila pinakikialamanan. Papakialamanan mo ba yung script na sasabihin ng MC, or kung paanong tono ang sasabihin ang kakantahin ng singer, or kung paanong estilo ba ang gagawin ng isang newspaper columnist? Of course, there is control as to the standard and to the quality of what they are to render, because ikaw ang kumukontrata sa kanila. Malamang you have the right to accept or to refuse that project that is being given by this independent service contractor. Now, ang TV host, di ba, may mga disclaimer ang mga TV station that the opinions of our host does not necessarily reflect that of the channel. So meron silang kalayaan. They're not being restrained from doing what they want. Hindi sila binupusalan sa bibig kung anong gusto nilang sabihin. Whereas, kung ikaw ay teacher, sinasabing ituro mo itong subject na to. Let's say, for example, you are about to choose the parts of the speech, the noun, the pronoun, the adjective, the adverb, or you have to follow a specific material that is being provided by the company, ikinokontrol ka. Plus, yung oras pa kung kailan ka magtuturo. Let's say, for example, you're asked to report from 8:45 to 3 p.m. Eh, di pa pangongontrol yun. Kinokontrol mo yung oras kung kailan. Hindi katulad ng newspaper columnist, kung kailan lang niya gusto mag-submit ng kanyang output, basta within the deadline, eh pwede. Meron siyang freedom. Now, what is the fourfold test in order to ascertain if there is an employer relationship? Because paborito sa mga kontrata nito mga employer na ito, yung papipirmahin ka, you have to be compelled to sign this contract. There's no employer-employer relationship between the two of you. Eh, ikaw naman, gusto mo ng trabaho, eh, pipilitan ka ngayon pumirma. At hindi mo naman din babasahin kung anong nilalaman ng contract because you're not interested to it. And what is the fourfold test? To ascertain the existence of an employer-employee relationship, the jurisprudence has invariably adhered to the fourfold test, namely the selection and engagement of the employee, the payment of the wages, the power of dismissal, and the power to control the employee's conduct, or the so-called the control test. Blow by blow, discuss natin ang paragraph. The selection and engagement of the employee. May hiring process, di ba? Ini-interview ka, pinagbibigay ka ng demo teaching. Eh, hindi ba selection and engagement of the employee yun? Like, of course, syempre, kung kukuha ka ng wedding singer or MC, hindi naman ganun katugo yung meron pang interview sa HR, diba? So, basically, the first requirement is the engagement of the employee. Interview ka ba? Pinag-demo ka ba? Yes, there are. There are certain factors like that. The payment of wages, syempre may sweldo. Right? Eh, kahit naman sino, binibigyan ng pera. So, that is most common for the independent contractor. Siyempre, meron din naman silang payment for what they have worked for. Now, the power of dismissal. Dismissal is pwede kang tanggalin sa trabaho. Hindi ba may disciplinary actions kapag nalilate ka sa pagtuturo mo, may deductions pa. And repeated actions would lead to dismissal. E di meron kayo sinusunod na batas, pinakikialamanan mo rin siya kung gusto niyang maliit. Diba? And the power, the most important of all, is the power to control the employee's conduct or the so-called control test. What is the control test? The so-called control test is commonly regarded as the most crucial and determinative indicator of the presence or absence of an employer-employee relationship. Under the control test, an employer or employee relationship exists where the person for whom the services are performed reserves the right to control not only the end achieved, but also the manner and means to be used in reaching that end. That is the case of Atok B. Wedge Company Incorporated versus Jesus P. Gison, GR number 165910, August 8, 2011. So the most important of the fourfold test is the control, right? Eh, paano ba natin di-distinguish yung control? Eh, syempre, kapag naman pinakanta mo yung isa, syempre, sasabihin mo naman sa kanya kung ano gusto mong kantahin, di ba? From that wedding day. Hindi naman pwedeng rock and roll yung kakantahin niya. So does that constitute control? Hindi naman yun yung control test na sinasabi rito. Hindi mo naman papakialaman na kung paano niya i-deliver yung kanta. Unlike in the teaching job, pinakikialaman mo, hinahanapan mo pa ng lesson plan at hinahanapan mo pa ng feedback pagkatapos ng online lesson. Eh, hindi mo pangongontrol yun. Hindi mo na siya binibigyan ng kalayaan. May format pa, may template pa kung paano mo bibigyan ng feedback na hindi masasaktan yung feelings ng estudyante. In a sandwich method na good, bad, good. Diba? Na you're really good in speaking in English, however, you need to improve this. So nevertheless, read more books. Eh, ganun ang format nung yung pagbibigay ng template. At isa pa, kinokontrol mo rin yung peak hours. Kung kailan ka magtuturo from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Hindi naman yun yung gusto mong oras na magturo ka eh, pati midnight eh. Pero kino-compel ka kasi nandun yung demand at nandun yung mga estudyante. Diba? Pinapapasok ka for a specific time with this regular booking. There is definitely a control. And what is the conclusion in that case? Are ESL teachers employees? Yes, they are employees. Because the line of teaching is based on the operation of an ESL company, which is to render the English teaching services. Eh, buti sana kung pinapagawa lang sa'yo, not really incidental to that of the main business of the company. Just like sabi ko nga, yung hospital, tapos pinag-voice over ka ng commercial, hindi naman nila negosyo yung voice over, di ba? Eh dito, negosyo nila mismo yung pagtuturo. There's a standard to be followed in a regular specific time to conduct the lesson. May scheduling yan eh. And the teaching is not incidental to the main business to be a project-based contract, and therefore, ESL teachers being employed in private companies like that are covered by the labor code of the Philippines. Still, they have their offices in the Philippines. So kahit pa foreign companies ito, they are still operating in the Philippines. Now, how to file the legal action? Most common misconception is mahal magbayad ng mga fees. Or in fact, libre lang naman din mag-file. And hindi na kailangan ng abogado. To file a labor case before the labor arbiter under the National Labor Relations Commission main office located at 1184 Quezon Avenue, Diliman, Quezon City sa May Banawe. And this is the main office, to those who want to visit this Metro Manila office. No need for legal counsel for representation. Even the law students who are certified by the court to practice the student law practice rule would be the one to assist you. And we are English teachers. You could file a position paper. There are lots of downloadable legal forms in the internet, that you can follow for this. And of course, you just have to know the procedures, on how to file this before the labor arbiter. Of course, what to file, it's a violation of the labor standard under the labor code. Ginagawa nila, dinadaya nila yung hindi ka raw empleyado. And most especially, kung tinanggal ka na dahil lumaban ka, or for whatever reason, na tinanggal ka without a just cause, without the proper procedure, that is what you call illegal dismissal, or kung kinompel ka mag-resign, then constructive dismissal. So that's how we should justify. So tayo magpaloko, we should read the labor code. At tingnan natin doon lahat ng benepisyo, yung sick leave, yung vacation leave, yung holiday incentives, holiday pay. Sa pinagtuturo tayo, kahit holiday, wala namang bayad. And the remunerations about the SSS, the pag-ibig, the PhilHealth, all of those are to be granted after the 6-month probationary period, right? So that's it for those legal tips for the independent service contractors. I hope you learned from this lecture.